Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen Persistent Universe monthly report summary, going over what Cloud Imperium games have been working on over the last few weeks and what they're focused on now in March 2025 in regards to Star Citizen's development. Anyway, let's jump straight in. The core gameplay team continued fixing numerous bugs. They supported upcoming content with smaller features to assist in the creation of missions, sandbox gameplay, and storytelling. But some of this will be in Star Citizen Alpha 4.1 later in March. Planning tasks concluded that will ensure the team correctly balances the need for bug fixing, quality of life updates, content support, and feature development. Minor misfires were implemented for rapid fire FPS weapons. This includes a setting that allows the designers to control the duration of the delay until the weapon continues shooting. General cooldowns were added for minor and major misfires to control how much time must pass after a misfire before another one of the same severity can happen. Planning was also done towards a misfire system for ship components to unify the systems and avoid tech debt. The primary use case for this is engineering gameplay, which should be in-game later this year. At least, that's my expectation. Overheat animations were added or improved for some Vault weapons. Again, these are appearing in 4.1, while integrated code changes were added to unblock downstream dependencies. For engineering gameplay, the team added panels to the engineering screen to show critical information when items are selected. Progress was made on base building, with devs identifying and fixing various bugs, particularly in client-server flow. Validation for buildings placed on land claims began and localization strings were implemented. Regarding crafting, the core feature is now playable using the developer UI, including the use of blueprints, variable material quality, crafting timers, and resource-dependent item stats. A basic queue to craft multiple items at once was added too. The fact that this is being run in the dev build is absolutely awesome already, but it could be quite a while before it's actually in our hands. A strike team was formed to deal with underlying issues affecting the transit system, while another continued with the ongoing refactor towards the new transit system. The core gameplay team is currently investigating poor performance in Pyro, which is caused by entities ending up at the center of the system, and dealing with issues with NPC loadouts, failing attachments, and object container setup. The core gameplay team made numerous tech debt performance and quality of life updates. For example, failure positions now work consistently. The entrance UI no longer suddenly disappears, and control hints were improved. The application of distortion damage to jump drives was made more consistent. The team continued the initiative to improve the flight model and the IFCS, the Intelligent Flight Control System. The core gameplay team said this will include many mechanical balancing and visual changes to improve the overall feel of flight. These will not immediately be implemented for the next Star Citizen released, but experimented with and iterated on internally until we feel they're ready for feedback. This involved adding jerk to IFCS to improve the overall feel of flight and smooth out all forces. A retuning pass to various ship classes to account for the changes to the flight model was done too. Extra G-force effects based on speed, not just acceleration, were added. While this doesn't impact gameplay, it adds a layer of immersion, for example via additional camera effects. Different velocity limits per axis were implemented. Now, IFCS uses goal time to max velocity with acceleration in that axis to define the velocity limit. This means that for now, velocity limit shape is defined by acceleration limit. Variable velocity limits per power assignment were added, now assigning different power changes, the acceleration, and in turn, max velocity. A prototype was designed for improvements to the proximity assist feature that limits speed based on proximity to other objects instead of just vehicle acceleration. Also, a core IFCS toggle was added to allow pilots to turn off various assists and fly fully decoupled. This is being used to experiment with a heavily stripped back IFCS system. Numerous bugs were fixed, quantum travel no longer overshoots short distances. Aiming fixes were also made, including aim assist being added to unmanned turrets. Progress continued on the radar and scanning feature. Work included enabling delta signature markers when detected. Progress on a handheld radar jammer and exposure exposing more options to change the visuals for highlighting detected contacts. Core gameplay also began work to allow vehicle interior components to be detectable and started a minor refactor of how nearby influencing signatures are handled. They began implementing additional hooks into the room system. This will enable the design team to define background signatures, which can make radar detection stronger or weaker. Heavy PvP areas may have lots of background noise, reducing the effectiveness of the radar and equalizing the playing field to some degree. Annunciators now start in the off state and correctly handle missing vehicle components. Maelstrom movement constraints progressed too, which allows the devs to limit how far broken off pieces can move. The inventory UI rework progressed with new concept art. This is an ongoing initiative to address many visual and user experience issues with the current inventory UI, including how players equip items on their character. A few features were updated for Arena Commander 2, such as the addition of assist scoring for crew members and AI, as well as loadout preset selection. The devs also began implementing UI for upcoming vehicles alongside concepting the final UI styles for 2 manufacturers. Various UI bugs and minor issues were fixed too. Core Gameplay wrote various technical design documents, including a new mission giver and a new mechanic to communicate mission progress via the comms call system. They worked on the supply or die event and made sure you don't lose cargo and containers when oversupplying a mission, because those materials can sell for a lot. They also made a variety of quality of life updates. Mission design focused on updating some old missions that weren't included in the recent refactor. This includes ensuring existing missions fit with the new factions content. For example, combat missions will fall under Foxwell Enforcement, with some of the new locations from Save Stanton used as forward operating bases. Bounty contracts will also move under the Bounty Hunters Guild, alongside the reintroduction of the hijacked Origin 890 jump mission, which was great to see. Focus was also given to the supply or die missions alongside fun content for the community. These missions will act as a test for balancing future resource gathering events. Technical conversations began with the ongoing prioritization of mission quality. These discussions are about how to improve the audio pipeline to get voiced missions and begin pushing higher production value events. Tech design worked closely with mission design on upcoming content releases that players will hear more about in the future. They also prepared to set up items for scanning and began identifying what items should be scannable and what information they should reveal to the player. A major focus over the last month was on gameplay triggers, a system that allows the designers to easily hook into and expose pre-existing functionality. Online technology have been making tweaks and fixes to enable more in-game items to persist long-term. For the ongoing mission system refactor, they worked to allow missions to communicate between distributed locations. Additional optimizations were made for how entities are bound over the network to lay the groundwork for use in a fully dynamic server mesh. Moving on to the narrative team, a major highlight for them recently was a performance capture shoot focused on adding new narratives and characters. Thanks to ongoing refinements to the capture workflow, players should start seeing these narrative moments in the next few patches. Additionally, they began planning and writing scripts for the next shoot, with the overall goal of greatly increasing the amount of dialogue in the verse, both in and out of missions. Another recent improvement was the new front-end loading screen for Alpha 4.0.2, which features an in-law newspaper with headlines pertinent to the new content being released. For Alpha 4.0.2, the team dedicated themselves to content and bug fixing, including the new resupply missions. Further missions are in progress for the rest of the year, including new standard issue missions, special events, and more involved narrative-focused missions. VFX prepped for content releasing later this year. They also supported Supply or Die, cleaned up various work from 4.0, and progressed with an upcoming creature. Could this be the Sandworm, maybe? I don't know, it could be. Animation progressed for creatures such as new movement for the Copion to give it more ability to traverse its environment. They also worked on facial animations for an upcoming release. The character team kicked off a new creature, continued to work through starware art debt, and progressed with 2 new stealth armors. The concept art team explored areas for in-game rewards and new armors. AI content continued updating the broken air traffic controller behavior throughout the main landing zones. Once completed, this will be scheduled for inclusion in upcoming patch. They worked on a new character prototype. Updates continued on Grimhex to match the behavior reworks done on Stanton's other landing zones. They also began looking into improvements to the dogfighting experience based on discussions with the design and mission teams. AI features improved and polished creature behaviors. New technology from AI Tech was added to close range and melee attacks, as used by the Copian and Quasi-Grazer, to make them more reactive to moving targets rather than stopping or starting locomotion to begin. The attack is considered part of the locomotion request, allowing the creature to react at any point during locomotion or resume locomotion without delay if the target moves. For human AI, the team made a variety of improvements. For example, time was spent on first reaction flow escalation, giving players direct feedback on an enemy's awareness state so they can sneak past, or NPCs may radio for backup. On top of this, various smaller bug fixes and improvements were made, like accuracy scaling will now start from the beginning of combat rather than when the player is seen, to give more grace time, and NPCs know who they are aiming at and who else is in the way. Issues were fixed with overzealous vehicle-based friendly fire, which prevented NPCs from firing when friendly vehicles were close by, and pre-combat attack area behaviors, including the AI not moving to the area and not attacking. The AI tech team made significant progress with work that will allow them to voxelize huge areas for 3D navigation. This will be used to create paths for AI ships and EVAing NPCs. Hopefully we should see some of these updates in the not too distant future. Boom! That's it for your March monthly update this time around. Although I should technically say it's the February monthly report, I suppose, but it is talking about what Cloud Imperium are focusing on now, what they've completed over the last few weeks. I'm really interested to know what you think of that. Obviously, a lot of that stuff is going to be included or was work towards 4.1, but obviously some of it as well, like base building and that sort of stuff, is work beyond that, and for hopefully inclusion later this year or early next. Do you think that new creature they're working on is stuff for sandworms? Do you think we're going to see sandworm missions as part of the narrative later this year, or is that crazy of me? Are you looking forward to those IFCS and flight model changes that they're making? Because some of them are actually sounding pretty cool. And for me, it's one of the most important things they need to get in-game and get right for Star Citizen. The ship flight, the movement on planets and in space, and that combat surrounding that. But whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. A reason to comment is that every month we have a ship giveaway, and a random commenter will win this month a Super Hornet Mark II with Heartseeker kit. Fantastic medium fighter with a load of cool little extras there. Also comes with a game package and lifetime insurance. All you need to play Star Citizen. It was given to us by CIG. Thank you very much for that. Something else you might be interested in, NordVPN. Use the links down below. Huge discounts on that. Helps the channel out as well. And VPNs can be very important for accessibility of the interwebs, but also security and privacy. I use it. I love it. You probably will too. We also got things like Tobii eye trackers down below. Click the links to that if you're interested in some natively supported precision head and eye tracking for Star Citizen, and a load of other games as well for that matter. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, all that sort of jazz with these videos, and we've got the join button underneath. There's Patreon links if you want to further support the channel for whatever reason. Maybe it's because you like us, maybe it's because you want us to make more daily videos. Well, we will, even if you don't. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.